is not all about how fast you get there. Sometimes it's about you not giving up on yourself. My name is Deborah Andrew. I hail from Kaduna State, the last child of a family of 5 siblings. Growing up as a child, I had big dreams. You could call me a dreamer. I was so close to my father, and most often we would sit together and we'd talk about my future. And because I could read at an early age, my dad would buy newspapers and give them to me to read aloud to him while he listened. On this fateful day, while I was in SS1, my dad told me that he wanted me to write JAM. I asked, JAM? Why? I was only in SS1. I did not need JAM. I wasn't seeking for admission. And he told me, calm down, that he wanted me to just gain the experience before the due time. Because I knew his intentions for me were good, and because I was a daddy's girl, I accepted. I wrote JAM. And when the results came out, guess what? JAM had jammed me. I failed badly. I was sad, but I knew that it was just a trial, and I would always have another time to write JAM again. Fast forward to when I was graduating from secondary school. I'd written my SSC, I'd written my JAM, another attempt. And I passed. I applied for the university of my choice, and I was awaiting admission. When the results came out and the list was out, a particular name was not on the list, Deborah Andrew. What could be the problem? I had my cut-off point. Well, I was sad, but after much encouragement and from my siblings and parents, I was hopeful that I could always apply for JAM. There will be a next year. I wrote the second JAM, wrote the third JAM, wrote the fourth JAM. At this point, I was frustrated. What is the problem this time around? And each year I noticed, each year I'd written JAM and scores were better than the previous. So what could be the problem? No one was giving me answers. I was sad, and I decided that I wasn't going to write JAM anymore. I didn't tell my parents, mind you. I decided that on my own. And I said I was going to learn a skill, or acquire a skill, or learn a trade. That was my conclusion. One day, I was speaking to my sister-in-law. We were having a conversation. And then boom, she brought about school talk again. She said her brother just acquired admission into Bauchi State University. And I was like, not again. I didn't want to write JAM. I ignored the conversation, but when I got back to my room, I sat down on my bed. I didn't know that that conversation we've had has stirred up that zeal and passion I've always had for learning. I decided I was going on the internet to check about the school, a school I've never known, a state I've never been to. And when I did, I saw that there was a remedial program going on. I decided I was going to go for that program. I quickly went to my parents and I talked to them about it. They were happy that I did not give up on my dreams already. And they said they were going to support me. They did both financially and emotionally. Look at me, I had resumed remedials. I started, and in no time, I had finished remedial program. The result was out, and it was good. I wrote JAM again, and this time around, I passed. I applied for that same school, Bauchi State University. And when the admission came out, guess what? I was admitted. And life goes on. I came when I resumed school, just when the semester was about to start. Before I knew, they said we should go for COVID, a pandemic that made the world too still. We went and we survived. I came back a survivor. And just when we resumed school, the famous ASU strike came up again. I came back home and I started asking myself, was I even meant to go to school? Did I force my way into school? But I did not give up because I had that resilient spirit in me. I had that passion to keep moving on. I decided I was going to look for a job. I applied for a job at a company that needed a customer care representative. They took me, and I got the job. I started working. In no time, 9 months after, we were called back to school. I resumed school, and I struggled because I was trying to fit in back into the educational system. But I tried my best, and I graduated. Today, standing before you is not just a graduate of English language from Bauchi State University, but also a serving corps member with the API Department of Post-Service Housing Development. about speed. Sometimes it is about endurance, and the most longest journey ends up in the most beautiful destination. Thank you.